Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So for tonight's analysis video, we're going back over 10 years ago now because we're looking at Evanescence and their performance of My Immortal. And this was live at the Billboard Music Awards. So what somebody is asking here with this video is, what happened? Because 3/4 of the way through the song, when the band kick in, everything kicks off, and not necessarily in a good way, because some people are saying that the guitarist is playing a wrong chord and totally ruins the performance, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get to the bottom of exactly what happened and why it sounds the way that it sounds. As always, the link to the original video is in the description below if you guys want to watch it the whole way through without me interrupting it and analysing things. But we're going to start right at the beginning here because I have isolated Amy Lee's vocal, run it through the pitch monitoring software. Not that it's really going to be that much of a vocal analysis. This is more of a live performance analysis. We just roll it forward a little bit and then the performance starts. And I'll leave in the piano just for a second. I'm so tired. So everything starts absolutely fine, and Amy's performing totally live here, playing piano, and there's no editing of the vocal, totally live vocal here. I'll let it play on a little bit. And now we have just a little bit of strings coming in the background. I'll let it just play on a little bit. You would just leave, 'cause your presence still lingers here, and so it's really subtle in the background there. So I've run it back because I'm going to have to point out a few technical things here. This song is recorded a semitone higher than Amy is playing it in this live performance. So I'm not sure whether when Amy's playing this on the piano, whether it's been transposed and she's playing it in the same place, but then what she's playing on the piano is a semitone lower than it should be. If she were playing this a semitone lower and the keyboard wasn't transposed, and what I mean by this is that, say for example, you've learned a particular piece on the piano and you want to play it in a different key. You can now move the playing to the different key, or you can change the notes on the electric piano to be different notes. So you can move them all down a semitone so that now when you are playing something in A, for example, it's now A flat. Even though you haven't moved your hands, you've effectively moved all the keys without moving them. You've moved the pitch down without changing what you have to play. So it can be very convenient. But in this case, and by the way, this might actually be in A originally, and she's playing in A flat. But so anyway, she's playing potentially in the same place, but it's a semitone lower. If she wasn't playing in the same place, she would absolutely know that, oh, I'm playing this in a different key to how we've recorded it. The other thing is that I think with the singing side of things, she would know that she's singing this a bit lower, like a semitone lower than she normally does, because it will sit lower in her range, and singers know their range and know where the notes are and know how it feels when they're performing it live. So yeah, at the moment it's important to understand that we're in a different key to where this song was recorded, the original release. And actually, let me play this and then I'll follow it up with the release so you can hear that it's different. I'm so tired. And now the official release. I'm so tired of being here. So it's just a semitone higher. This live performance is a semitone lower. I'm actually going to mute the vocal so you can listen to these strings in the background. So the strings in the background are flat in places, and quite dramatically flat. So, and there's no explanation for that, because if they had been told to play this, or if they were reading something that was in the original key, they would be a semitone higher than this. So they are lower, they're a semitone lower as well. But not only are they matching the piano here, a semitone lower, but they're actually not tuned. Or they are tuned, but maybe they're playing slightly off, and maybe because there aren't a lot of violinists, or maybe the string section isn't very large, so you hear maybe where somebody's playing it slightly more out of tune, and maybe get the placement a little bit wrong, it maybe stands out a bit more. But you can definitely hear tuning issues with the string section in the background. It sounds like it might just be one that's throwing everything off. Yeah, we're definitely getting something in there. It's not quite sitting right. What we're going to do, and we will just listen to Amy's vocal isolated, just because it is a live vocal. This is what live vocals sound like.
Captivating me by your resonating light. Now I'm bound by the life you left behind.
You can actually hear it sounds very low in her range there, because we are literally a semitone lower.
Your face it haunts my once pleasant dreams. Your voice it chased away all the sanity in me.
I mean, really accurate pitch-wise as well. She's got a really distinctive voice, because she doesn't have anything that's, any kind of vibrato in there.
These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. When you cry, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears.
And really straight notes here. Like I said, no vibrato here, just straight. Really accurate there as well.
And I held your hand through all of these years, but you still.
There, that kind of thing. It doesn't really have anything on there, that held note, but you can see these tiny little wobbles that are really just vocal cord vibrations. It's not it's not an audible vibrato there. But anyway, I'm just going to move this forward to the point where everything else comes in. So now when the band have come in, we get this clash. The first thing to talk about is that accusation of the guitarist coming in with a wrong chord. That's not what's happened here. Just checking. Yeah. So the bass is incorrect as well as the guitar. So if it was just the guitarist coming in with a bad chord, then it would just be the guitar that would be out, not the bass. So what this means is that the band are tuned to the original tuning of the song, and it's really difficult because this is obviously a live string section, and the string section are reading this. And this is what happens when playing with an orchestra live, and they are genuinely playing. Orchestras, string sections do not learn the song off by heart that they're going to be playing. They're going to be reading it. So they are reading this. a semitone lower. Amy's playing this a semitone lower. So somewhere along the line, the communication has been lost that we're playing this a semitone lower, guys. As we let this play on, you'll hear how in the mix, I think the band get pushed into the background a bit. Yeah, that guitar's definitely a semitone high. One of the violinists, whoever it is, or it might be a cello, something that is prominent is slightly flat in the mix there. So it means that you've got the piano being played a semitone lower than it is normally. You've got something in that string section being a little bit flat. And now you've got the band coming in a semitone sharp. So when you add all of that together, we've got semitone flat, string slightly flat of the semitone flat, and a semitone sharp of the band. That's why it sounds like this. And I mean, you've got to feel for Amy here, because she's playing this on the piano and she's trying to sing accurately with all of this going on. So imagine trying to sing your vocal where you can hear the strings are slightly out. So you're thinking, right, let me use the piano as a reference point. Band comes in, loads of volume, semitone higher than you're playing. So yeah, so this is why, I mean, just trying to keep the vocal together is going to be nigh on impossible. I mean, she's doing really well here. And now I know people will say, well, if you are playing this on the guitar, if you're playing this on bass, why don't you change what you're playing? And again, it might be a tuning thing. If you're not detuned, you can't go low enough. You'd have to play the shape higher up. So rather than playing in drop D, you would have to play the D, higher up the fretboard, 5th fret of your A string, for example, with your root note. So you need to play that shape. But more often than not, when you are playing live, especially at big events or venues, you can't hear your guitar. And I know that for people that might just play at home and practice on a practice amp, they won't really know what it's like. But the amp that you're playing through can be miles away from you, and you're at the front of a stage and the mic is picking up your amplifier, but you can't hear your amplifier, and the speakers are going out to the crowd. So unless you've got decent foldback of your guitar sound, in everything else that's going on, you won't notice. But again, you might say, well, can't you hear that this is a semitone lower? But again, that's now testing your tuning ear-wise to think, oh, hang on, Amy's singing this a semitone lower than how we normally do it. And I think actually what's happened here is the piano has gone down in the mix. Yeah, all we can hear there really is drums, really prominent foot pedal, vocal and strings that are, again, a little bit off. Ironically, the last thing you want to get rid of here is the piano, because that's the only thing that is with Amy where she's singing, because those strings being a little bit flat, once you take the piano out, now the disparity between the strings being flat and the semitone sharp of the guitar and bass, that's now an even wider pitch that we've got between those two. At least the piano was a little bit closer to the strings, and that's what Amy's singing to. I mean, you can see actually that her vocal is accurate to what she's playing on the piano.
Wow.
So, and then we hear the piano coming in again, and Amy says, wow, understandably, because of what she's hearing. Yeah. I'm sure maybe the strings on the left she would have been aware of earlier in the performance, but when the band comes in, yeah, it's just understandably all over the place with the tuning. And now when the piano comes in again in the mix, it's now making sense. Yeah, I think it is just a little bit of those strings ever so slightly flat. All these tiny things that have all conspired together to have this sound that ultimately this isn't anybody's fault for playing something incorrectly. Amy's playing this correctly on the piano, a semitone lower than the original release. She's singing it correctly. The string section are playing this correctly, albeit maybe somebody's got a string that's ever so slightly out of tune, a little bit flat. And the band are coming in with how they normally play the song. So everyone's independently correct, but when they come together, they're all independently correct in their own ways that are different. So this is why the sound is as it is. When she starts playing the piano, the string sections start up straight away. So if they're reading it and they're reading it a semitone higher, they wouldn't ignore what they're reading because they can hear the piano as a semitone lower. They're just reading what they're reading, which goes with the piano. So yeah. Anyway, that is that. Thank you guys for requesting this particular analysis video for tonight and this analysis / investigation. I hope you have enjoyed it. Keep those suggestions and requests for future videos coming in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!